live, so
All
that's
right.
cool. And now I just have to get all my notes set up, and we will be good to go, finally. Let's see. So now let me just close out of all the unnecessary little channels I've got open. Okay.
I'm back.
You are back. Good to see you.
All right.
And I'm happy to inform you that we are in fact live now.
All right. Fantastic.
Okay, so let me see. Okay, that's where we were, yes. Okay, so you were on a boat, a rickety old cargo ship with just a little bit of people transport, making its way to the southern port city of Hardby. So, you're starting to approach the city, and the first thing you notice is that the ship itself has to pass through this oceanic gateway, as it were. The entrance to the port, or like the little safe water area, is ringed with these two gigantic statues of storm giants that seem to be carved from some sort of volcanic rock. And as you pass through them, you notice one of the bell towers off in the distance rings as you begin to approach the city. Marco doesn't seem to make any note of it, though, as you head towards the dock at the same speed you were moving before. The docks stand far below the city, and Hardby itself is perched on sea cliffs overlooking the approach that you're making. So as the boat pulls in and it lowers its anchor and sort of ties itself to the moors, you can see that there are armed soldiers wearing Greyhawk garb. They look a little more rugged and a little bit more hardened than the troops you see in the city, but they're standing there, a spear out on two of them, ready to greet you as you begin to disembark.
All right. So, are we getting off the boat?
I do think it would be prudent to blow this popsicle stand.
Yeah, just in case there's any more spiders.
Mm-hmm.
Or any more family members.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And Vinny remarks to that, like, hey, at least I'm helping you getting your stuff on the boat.
Oh, yeah.
At least.
Of course, Vinny. It was the least you could do. What with us making sure that that spider didn't ruin any of the rest of your cargo or terrorize any of your more paying passengers.
Hey, man, that's more Marco's gig than mine. It's not really my job to get involved in all that hookah-gig.
Well, that's okay. It's as long Marco did not have to hear about it, so everything is just fine.
Mm-hmm. So the armed men seem to be tapping their feet impatiently, almost as though they're waiting for you.
All right, let's get off the boat.
Joining the armed men, and just starting to approach the dock as you do, is a older fellow in knightly garb, sort of leading the bunch. And he stands ready in sort of a plumed helm at his side as he greets you. And he says, "Ah, hello there, welcome to Hardby. So, first things first, before you get at all any comfortable in the city, let's see what weapons you have on you."
Okay. Rayrel shows her bow and quiver and her two short swords.
Mm-hmm.
The sword reveals just a pair of daggers and a light crossbow.
Mm-hmm.
Drew will remove his mace and present it to the guards for observation.
You there, priest, a little closer. Let me see that mace personally.
Steps forward and presents it to him handle first.
Mm-hmm. He takes it, he looks at it a little while, and he takes it and he looks you over as well. And he hands it back to you and he says, "Very well, welcome to the city of Hardby. I request, of course, that all weapons remain sheathed and, more importantly, out of sight. The city is in lockdown right now, understood?"
Okay.
Indeed.
Why is it under lockdown?
Apparently, her ladyship of the city has gone missing.
Well, that's not good.
I'm a captain. I am not some highborn general. But apparently, inside the mansion of her ladyship right now, there's a power struggle between the oligarchs and the generals and all that. And it's really not my place to get involved. But if I had to place my money on anyone doing it, I'd expect it'd be the Grey Hawk oligarchs who organized all this.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Captain, when you say a lockdown, are they keeping people into the city or keeping people from getting out? Or keeping people
Once you're in, you do not leave. Understood?
Of course.
Oh boy.
And while this is going on, you see the gnome and his posse being haggled with by another pair of guards that have arrived at the scene.
Captain, it's... Now, I'm not sure that I should say anything, but I consider it my civic duty. Is there some kind of regulations about bringing dangerous animals and goods into the city?
Do you have a dangerous animal aboard your ship?
Oh, not the ship, sir, but it's that gnome fellow over there. He was carrying around... He was trying to transport a giant spider, which attacked several people on the boat.
Oh dear. And what is the fate of this creature now?
The creature, I believe, is in the river now, but who knows what else he could have on him. I would be concerned with the city on lockdown, sir.
Understood. Well, after I am done with you, I will discuss it with him myself then. Okay. Wait a minute. The guard captain sort of looks over Drew once more, and he narrows his eyes a little bit, and he says, "I recognize that symbol."
Indeed.
Tell me, young Mr. Priest, or whatever your role may be, could you turn around for a second?
Of course.
Okay. And he walks
And just...
up.
Yep.
No.
I'll simply turn.
He walks up to you, and he places a pair of manacles on your wrists. He says, "Right then, come with me." And he starts hauling Drew out, while the two other guards remain.
Wait a minute. Why are you arresting our acquaintance here?
The Temple of Cuthbert has committed a sin against the city, and as it stands, all members of that clergy right now are going to be placed on house arrest, meaning that they will all be placed in the Temple of Cuthbert that is located within the city of Hardby, yada yada yada, and are not to leave until requested otherwise to do so.
Well, I could think of worse places.
How does a church commit a sin?
They are seen as conspirators with the people of Greyhawk. They've been meddling in our affairs for too long, and in fact, many of us don't even want to wear these garments anymore.
Well,
And the fact that your city hails from there only adds to the suspicion. I know not what your errand is, or what
we're just
you're doing.
passing through, which apparently seems quite impossible at the moment.
Hmm. Well, I suggest that you take it up with Stravot then. That's not my job. And so he begins to haul Drew away. If you wish
I do not resist.
if you wish to come along, you're welcome to do so. And he begins making his way towards the Temple of Cuthbert in the south of the city.
Might as well follow.
From a distance, I would think. I'm not.
Yeah, from a distance.
The church is the last place I'd like to be locked up in.
Well, we have to figure something out. We can't let that gnome get a head start on us.
No, hopefully the city guard will prove useful in that situation.
It doesn't do us much good though if we're on lockdown ourselves.
Well, and it doesn't do us much good if the organization that's supposed to be paying us is themselves under arrest.
Yeah. I feel like this could have been pertinent information. We could have just gone straight to the desert.
Yeah.
Well, it only happened a few days ago, so there was no way Marco or anyone on the crew would have known.
True. Well, I guess we'll just have to figure it out. But to somehow clear the St. Cuthbert Church Temple's name and figure out where this lady went disappearing to.
So once you get to the temple gates, the temple here isn't the grand cathedral that's in the city of Greyhawk. It's more of a modest facility. It's still a decently sized temple, but, only about the size of two churches, really. And so he opens the door to the enclosed courtyard that the temple has. He pushes Drew inside. He says, "Would you like to follow?"
Sure.
Okay, and once all three of you are in, he closes the door behind him, and there are two guards posted out front.
Well, it looks like we'll have better accommodations than I thought for the evening.
So are we non-believers free to come and go as we please?
Of course.
Oh, perfect
Okay.
then.
So it's just Drew who is on house arrest, so we can move about.
I mean, Drew doesn't have to be under house arrest. He could sneak out.
Well, I was going to assume that, with knowledge of every temple, there are certainly ways of which to escape and not be seen in the night as I, carouse about.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, each temple has their secrets, so to speak. I would just have to implore upon the right person to show us said secrets.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will seek the head priest or whoever is admonishing or administering to people, as it were, right now, if there's anybody available.
Okay. So you're going to make your way to the head priestess's chambers. Currently, she is in a heavily meditative state, so you sort of open the doors to her chamber without too much issue. And you see something that's kind of like reminiscent of a Dumbledore's office kind of thing, where you've got all these books, you got these old artifacts, although in this case they don't seem to be nearly as powerful or important. And you see an older woman sort of cross-legged in the garbs of Cuthbert in a deep meditative state, almost asleep.
Well, I think we'll leave her and see who the. So I'll slowly shut the door and turn and try to find the priest in charge at the moment.
Okay. So you search around and you ask around for a little bit, and eventually you're led to an older woman, or another older woman, uh, up, and she seems to be writing letters at a desk in one of the library buildings. And as you come to her, she seems to be in a bit of a tizzy. And she's garbed in black with heavy glasses over her face, and her hair is streaked with gray. And she looks up to you, smiles gently, and she says, "Hello."
Hello, priestess.
She returns
It
immediately
seems
to her writings.
it appears there's been an interesting 3 or 4 days which I have not been aware of, having traveled downriver from Greyhawk, only to be arrested and taken here. May I know of what has happened?
Yes, take a seat. Though I'm not going to stop writing, it's important that I get these letters out to every powerful person I can. I must make sure that they know what the situation is and that we strongly disagree with their stance on this.
Indeed.
And she, without even taking a break from what she's working on, says that, well, it happened all of a sudden one day. The media happened, a few weeks pass, and then they arrest. No, they don't arrest. The lady of Hardby, the despotrix, goes missing out of the blue. And then all of a sudden, the general and the people of the city go on this massive tirade where they believe that it is the people of Greyhawk who have done this. And fair enough, the Greyhawk oligarchs make their meddlings where they do. And it is not my place to get involved with such politics. But they believe that we, as one of the patron saints of the city of Greyhawk, are in league with them, and so they have placed me and all of my sisters under arrest for the time being. It's a travesty, I say, not one that will go unanswered.
Well, it appears we are in a bind. We have been sent here by the head priest from the Temple of Greyhawk to investigate the whereabouts of where this comet landed.
Oh,
You need only to confirm this with him in order to understand that we need to leave as quickly as possible.
well, we have to resolve the whole situation first. If you were to leave now, you'd be breaking the law, and that is utmost not allowable.
Of
It
course.
is an option.
It is an option for you, maybe. Around here, we like to do things the proper way. This witch hunt has gone on enough already. If we were to begin breaking the laws, we would give them all the excuse they need to plagiarize us and put us at the stake. Plagiarize isn't even the right word. That's how frazzled I am.
Well, they may indeed take some of our writings and use them against us. However, what is it that you see that needs to be done, High Priest of the Temple?
What do you mean needs to be done?
Well, you are saying that we cannot leave.
Yes. Well,
Are we to do nothing?
I would recommend it, yes. I would say write letters with me. Send them out to the powerful and let them know that we are not in league with Greyhawk.
Yeah, but then it's just your word against theirs. And what good does that do?
What good does that do? It does all the good that we would ever need.
Greyhawk and the Church of Cuthbert have been friends for some time.
Yes, we're considered one of the patrons of the city.
Well, this mission is from the High Priest himself of the temple in Greyhawk. And the laws of men do not necessarily supersede the laws of our God and Church.
But
This
is it not the highest teaching of Cuthbert to obey all laws and to help all systems self-propagate and to live in an orderly society?
And sometimes, in order to do so, the laws of Cuthbert are first and foremost.
Instead of involving myself, I will plead ignorance on whatever issue is to follow.
We have been tasked with finding the comet. That is all I know, and that is my singular focus.
Well, perhaps since Drew, you're kind of stuck here for the time being, perhaps Soren and I can go out looking for information. Seems like this all started when the lady disappeared.
You are all free to go, from what I understand.
We're free to leave this building. We're still stuck in the city until that matters.
I think the two of you are well versed in finding your way out of cities such as this.
That's more wily an observation than I gave you credit for.
I would not know how myself, but if, say, I was able to leave and go with you. But again, I am bound to what the High Priestess instructs me to do.
I have an idea. Perhaps if you didn't look like you belonged to the Church of Cuthbert for just enough to get us out of town. Just change your garments, maybe a wig.
And Drew will simply look at the High Priestess to see her pleasure, displeasure, what she's thinking.
She is fully committed to her letter writing and is paying no heed to you. And she has said that she's not getting involved with anything that you do, but that you are free to do as you please.
So I'll simply stand up and Drew will say, I thank you for your time, High Priestess. I do hope those letters do you some good, but I must be going.
And good luck to you, whatever you're doing.
And so I'll kind of turn and walk out and just kind of lead my two compatriots to the foyer, so to speak, and try to talk where there are no ears.
Okay. So you find a nice column, in one of the corners of the foyer to do your business in.
Rayril, I think you are correct. I think we need to leave immediately. As nightfall comes, I think it would behoove us for me to change my appearance and go and continue on our mission.
There has as much. Honestly, the whole lady missing, and no offense, but the dealings of your church have very little to do with what our objective is.
Well, this I understand. I am a bit curious as to how my faith was thrown into the middle of this, but who knows with affairs.
Hmm.